Hi guys, welcome to another mukbang with me. I have a lot of food today and all of it is Canadian themed. So I have some things that I don't think you can find in other countries or is not very common but is Canadian. So I'm gonna dig in and then I'm going to get into today's story, which is a breakup story. I'm gonna be telling you about my worst breakup. So I have a couple of Tim Hortons things, which are you really Canadian if you don't support Tim Hortons? I actually hate Tim Hortons coffee. Their coffee is shit. Their lids. Like before I even got in the car with this, it was spilled all over my hand. Tim Hortons, get it together. So good. I want to start with something over here because I've been dying for these. So I have Poutine and then buffalo fries. I am so excited. I'm going to start with the poutine. Poutine is a Canadian dish. It is made with cheese curds, french fries, and gravy. I actually made this myself, so I made the gravy, I bought the cheese curds, and I bought the fries, but I cooked them myself. Wow. What? These cheese curds are actually vegan, so I didn't think it would be very good at all because when I tried the vegan cheese curds on their own, they were so salty. So I thought for sure this would be disgusting and like overly salty. But cheese curds themselves are salty, so it goes. I'm so impressed. Wow, this gravy is amazing, which I made. It's a vegan gravy I made with like coconut milk, vegetable stock, onions, soy sauce, and a few other things. It is really flavorful. Okay, there's no way I'm eating all that, by the way. There's no way. I'll try the buffalo fries with ranch. I put ranch on them. Wow, those are really good too. I think the fries just like soaked up all the buffalo sauce and made them a little bit soggy, but that is okay. They are still delicious. So, the worst breakup I've ever had. And not that the breakup itself was like bad. No, okay, yeah. The relationship itself wasn't good. It's just the breakup and how it happened was just kind of like awful and disgusting. So this was many years ago, like I think 7 years ago. I started dating my roommate. We'll call him Steven. LOL if you know who I'm really talking about. And he was my first real boyfriend. We lived together, so we spent obviously a lot of time together, every night together, and we just spent all the time in the world together. And there was nothing particularly wrong with our relationship. It was okay. We never really fought. We never got in arguments. We got along decent. But it was just one of those relationships that like, just because there was nothing wrong, like there was also nothing super, you know, amazing. We were just kind of like, I don't know, okay with each other. We dated and we lived together for about a year. And after this year, I decided not only to leave the city, but I decided to leave the country. I actually, the next year, decided to go to France and au pair. And so me and Steven kind of had to decide like, okay, are we gonna stay together? Like, is this worth anything? Like, what are we gonna do with our relationship? And maybe like 2 months before I decided to go, we basically decided, okay, we're gonna break up. Like, we're not gonna do long distance. From Toronto to France. No, like, you know, if I come back and things work out, but if not, like, you know, oh well, no harm, no foul. So whatever, we, I guess, decided to break up. But then, like, I don't know, maybe I'm stupid. As things kind of got closer, we never brought it up again. We still remained basically a couple. We still were going to his parents' cabin on the weekend. We were still, you know, going on dates and sexually active. Right up until I left. So I think it being my first relationship, I thought like, oh, we're probably just gonna do long distance. Like, why else would we keep this relationship going up until I leave? So, as I said, we just continued to date right up until my flight to France for however long. And mind you, this was my only serious relationship ever to this day. Like, I've never had a relationship beyond him. So I was I didn't want to let him go. I was naive, thinking like, this is the man I'm gonna marry, like we get along, we've been already dating a whole year, like I can't start over with anyone new, like, you know, young Val. You're so good. Ooh, baby. Holy frick, I'm getting full already. Okay, so I'm gonna try some of these sweets. These are like Canadian things, so you've probably never seen some of them before. This one is pretty self-explanatory. I'm sure if you were in America or maybe in Germany or the UK, like you have these. It's just a maple dip donut. Maple, very Canadian. From Tim Hortons, very Canadian. It's so good. It's so fluffy, not greasy one bit. So Steven drove me to the airport when I was ready to leave. We literally held each other and cried for a good 15 minutes. And then I left him and sat in the airport by myself for another probably hour and a half before my flight boarded. And I was a freaking hot mess. I was like so heartbroken. I could not believe I was leaving the love of my life, like, which he's definitely not. But at the time, I thought, I'm gonna marry this one. So I bawled for the entire time. I was sitting there in the airport by myself, writing love letters to Steven, saying how much I missed him and all this stuff, and how I can't wait to come back home. I don't know. It was just it was a heart-wrenching time for me. And yeah, I flew to France, was kind of sad and thinking about him and moping the entire time, and I got there and everything was fine. I kind of assimilated into my new environment, and I was very confused about our relationship because we literally talked to each other. We were messaging each other the entire time I was away as if we were still dating. So in my head, I thought, we're still together, we're doing long distance right now, and we're gonna get together when I come back, you know? Why else would I be still talking to you? Why else would you still be talking to me? Like, why else are we, you know, saying lovey-dovey things and saying I miss you and, you know, all the things that a long-distance couple would say. But I'm like, you don't do that unless, or I wouldn't have done that unless I was in a relationship with someone. There's no way I would be doing that with, like, an ex of mine or somebody I didn't intend on getting back together with. So, in my mind, we were still, you know, a couple. This is Tim Hortons limited edition Kit Kat donut with caramel filling, so... The Kit Kat tastes a little stale, and the caramel is way too sweet. And I also don't really like chocolate that much, so I'm not a fan. It tastes like caramel that you top your ice cream sundae with. I'm going to try this muffin that is from Tim Hortons. I don't know if it was limited edition or not, but I've never seen it there before. It's a strawberry cheesecake muffin, so I thought it sounded freaking delicious. It is filled. It looks interesting. It smells very strawberry-like. I think there's graham crackers on the outside. It's okay. I don't know how I feel about it. It's not bad. It's okay. I don't know if this is something that I would ever get again, but it's not too bad. Very fluffy. You can't really taste the graham part. It tastes like nothing, and it's not really crunchy, so it doesn't give any texture, so I don't know why it's there. For aesthetics, I guess. Yeah, so I assumed that we were still dating. Anyway, something ended up happening where my visa got all messed up, and I actually had to go back to Canada. I basically got deported from France, and I had to leave within the 3 months that I was there. So they kicked me out, and I had to go back to Canada to fix my visa and come back. So I was going back to Toronto for however long it took me to fix my visa. So of course, I immediately told my boyfriend, Steven, thinking, oh, he's gonna be so excited that I'm coming back, blah, 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 blah. And he was off-put that I was coming back. And I was so confused because we were dating, and you know, why would my boyfriend want to see me? But he never really sounded excited that I was coming back, and he kept on putting off plans to get together, or he never offered to pick me up from the airport. He never offered for me to stay with him. So finally I got fed up and kind of just made other plans to stay with my friend while I was there. And I remember going there. I'm gonna try this actually. This is a Nanaimo bar. This is a Canadian delicacy from Nanaimo, BC, British Columbia. It's got a coconut chocolate crust on the bottom, a custard layer in the middle, and then topped with hard chocolate. These are so good. That is so sweet. I think I'm only gonna have that one bite. Ooh. So yeah, I got fed up, made plans with my friend, and decided to stay with her. But we kept on pretty much talking. We never stopped communicating. He just refused to initiate any plans or, you know, respond to anything like that with me, which was very frustrating. I was staying with my friend, and I think the second day I was staying with her, I just got I snapped on him saying I can't remember exactly what I said, but I just snapped on him, being like, I'm only in Canada for a limited amount of time, you haven't even made plans with me, and all this stuff, I'm gonna be going back home and you're not gonna end up seeing me, what a shitty boyfriend you are. And then he basically just said I can't remember what exactly he said, I can't remember exactly, but the way he said it, I knew he cheated on me, I just knew. And I basically just told him go f*** yourself, and he didn't respond. This is a butter tart. This is a pecan butter tart, which I believe is only Canadian. Basically a pile of sugar in a pie crust. Very good. I forgot I got the pumpkin spice one. It must be a limited edition. That's very good. So I said, go f*** yourself, and probably cried to my friend. But then I remember thinking I'm not done with this guy yet. So I went over to his house, literally marched across Toronto, Canada, to his house. I think I wasn't too far. It was a 20-minute walk, but I hauled my ass over there, did my makeup so I looked good when I was confronting him, knocked on the door, and I will never forget his face when he saw that I had showed up at his place. He was in total shock. I remember he looked very shameful, being oh no, I know what I did, you know. These sweets are so sweet today. I remember looking at him and saying, we need to talk. And we went upstairs to his room, and that is the first time I've ever yelled at anyone in my life. I yelled at him, and he never admitted that he cheated, but he never denied it either. So I basically just yelled at him and called him a cheater and all this stuff, and he never denied it, so. The really good part is coming, I swear. And then I left his house. I don't remember if I cried that night or not, but I don't think I did. I think I was feeling pretty empowered that time. So I left his house, went back to my friends, and then I'm pretty sure I cried my eyes out at her place. And yeah, literally the next day he was messaging me saying asking me how I was and how he really wants to know how I'm doing and what I've been up to and all this stuff. In my mind I was kind of what the fuck, why do you care now? And then, but my friend told me, he was asking me to dinner, and my friend told me that I should go out of a courtesy. So I went. We ended up getting back together. I don't know how it freaking happened. God, I'm such an idiot. We went for dinner and drinks and had a great time, laughing, all that crap. And then he convinced me to take me somewhere on the weekend. And I went with him on the weekend, and I went back and stayed at his house after the weekend was over. I'm pretty sure we slept together, I don't know, but we basically dated this was at Christmas time. We dated throughout the rest of Christmas, and then I ended up spending Christmas with his family in his cabin up north. Like, spent the entire Christmas with his family. We spent New Year's together at his place, and he had seven roommates, and most of them were students. And after New Year's, like, everyone was obviously on vacation, but after New Year's, people started coming back from vacation, and maybe 3 or 4 days after New Year's, almost all of his roommates were back. And there was one night when me and Steven were downstairs in the common area just watching some TV at the end of the night, and one of his roommates came down, a girl from the second floor, and she said, "Steven, can I please talk to you upstairs?" And he went upstairs and did not come back for 2 hours. So in my mind, I was like, are you kidding me? He was cheating on me with his roommate, and he didn't mention that, and then he brings me back, and she comes. It was like the most fucked up situation. So he goes up and talks to her, comes back down after 2 hours, and I just don't say a word to him because I was pissed. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Didn't say a word. We just had a mutual understanding that, like, I know, you piece of shit. And obviously he didn't really like how awkward it was downstairs with me because I was pissed off. So he went back upstairs with his girl roommate. Now at this time, it's like 11 p.m. So there was, as much as I wanted to like peace out, there was no way I was gonna find a place to stay at 11 p.m. on like a Tuesday night. So I went upstairs and I slept in his bed on the top floor while he was on the second floor sleeping with his roommate. Awkward as fuck. I pretty much cried the entire night. By far the worst night of my life. By far. Bawled the entire night. Could not sleep a second. And then he had to come into his room at like 6:30 in the morning to grab his work clothes. And I literally pretended I was asleep. I did not want to talk to him. I did not want him to know that I'd been like crying the entire night. So I pretended I was sleeping, and I'm sure as soon as he left, I like passed out because I was so tired. And my plan was to like ditch like mid-afternoon when I'd gotten all my crap together, and he would be at work, so I would just leave, and when he came back from work I would be gone already. Well, guess who came back early? I think he came back at like 1 or 2 p.m. Like literally 2 hours before I was gonna ditch out, he came home, and I literally tried to sneak downstairs past him and just walk out, but there was no way. Like, he was in the main area, there was no way I was gonna sneak out. So he stopped me and asked me if I wanted to talk. I said no. And I tried to walk away, and he said, well, I'd like to talk to you. And so I went and I sat on the couch with him, and he said nothing. Did not say sorry, did not say anything of what had happened the night before. And I just sat there and cried for like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and finally was like, okay, like, I'm just gonna go. Like, this is not gonna get us anywhere. So I got up and I left. And after that, he tried to get back together with me a couple times, and he even called me. He was calling me and still talking to me 6-7 months later, trying to get back together. And yeah, pretty sure he was definitely still dating that girl. So just a shit person. But I remember, like, that was the worst thing I've ever gone through emotionally. I was like a train wreck. I could not believe that somebody could be such a dirtbag to like sleep with another girl while I'm sleeping in his bed. Like, how disgusting. But anyway, that is the end of my story, and I am quite full. So this was actually a very tasty meal. Poutine was so good. If you've never had poutine, it's really easy to make. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed my story, or I don't know, enjoyed some of my misery anyway. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.